Welcome to the series, a large model Showman'S engine. This is part 12. Making a bracket for the regulator handle extension and modifying the internal parts of the engine lamps. For me personally, this engine is impossible to drive. I just cannot really reach the regulator handle. The solution to this problem is to extend the handle with a special linkage. The job begins by cutting a piece of brass angle. This is 1/8 of an inch thick. The piece of brass angle was quite tarnished, so I cleaned it up on the polishing spindle, then I used some brasso and finishing the job using a cotton cloth. I need to mount this piece of brass angle up inside the canopy. I'm going to fix it to the two inner light rails, and in this clip I'm marking out the position to drill a hole at each end of the brass angle. This is not a critical component. The marking out is done with a small steel rule, and then as shown here I drilled a hole at each end. You will notice I've rounded the ends of the piece of brass angle in an attempt to prevent slashing my wrists when driving the engine. As the brass angle is high up in the canopy, I won't be able to see where it is when I'm driving. This is a phosphor bronze bearing assembly with a brass nut that I made. I didn't video this process because it's a very simple turning and threading job. If you don't know how to do this, please watch my series Model Engineering for Beginners. Next I cut this piece of brass using the bandsaw. This will be bolted to the brass angle to support the rod that connects to the regulator handle. I need to drill a 1/2 inch hole in it to accept the fitting that I made. Once I've done that, I shape the piece of brass. No sharp edges required here. In this clip I'm holding the piece of brass against the brass angle and I'm doing a test fit of a piece of 5/16 stainless steel. This feels okay on the bench, but I do think I'm going to need a second piece of brass angle to support the piece of 5/16 stainless steel nearer to the regulator handle. All I have to do is duplicate what I've already got. Here I've drilled two 3/16 of an inch diameter holes through the piece of brass that holds the bearing. Once I make sure everything lines up, I'll drill a couple of holes in the brass angle to mount this part. The next topic in this video is called Let There Be Light. And here is a light. These are very cheap. I got them from Amazon. They are rechargeable flame effect tea lights. So I'll switch it on and show you what it does. They all come with a plastic diffuser, but I'm not going to use this. What am I going to do with these electric flickering tea lights? I'm going to make them fit in the handmade lamps that I received for the traction engine. The previous owner told me that originally there were some paraffin burners in these lamps. And if you look carefully, inside on the base is a special fitting to hold these burners, and the previous owner told me that unfortunately all 3 of these burners were stolen at a steam rally he went to. What do I have to do to make these tea lights fit? They seem to be an ideal solution. These electric flame effect tea lights almost fit, but unfortunately because of the protruding bolts inside the lamps and the internal length of the part that supports the glass, they don't fit. So this is what I did to these beautiful lamps. I ground away any internal protrusions that prevented the electric tea lights from slotting into place. These lamps have been handmade using copper, and it's quite easy grinding away the copper using a grinder in my electric drill. I am, however, having to control where the electric drill goes because I do not want to damage any other parts of the lamps. Because I was being so careful, the job did actually take a long time. I started by grinding away the excess metal inside the lamp, which at the moment serves no useful function because I cannot fit a light in there. One of the lamps was worse than the others, but as you can clearly see in this clip, the grinder in the drill is making an impression. The other problem with the internals of these lamps is the fact that the bolt heads stick out, which was probably never a problem with the original small burners that were made for the job. But now on this lamp in particular, the only thing stopping the tea light from slotting into place are all these protruding bolts. This was a very easy job. In no time at all the grinder fitted in the drill, removed the excess bolts down to the same level as the nuts. I intend to repaint the inside of these lamps to make them look good. And here I'm using my Proxxon motor tool with a diamond cutter to clean up the burred edges of the parts I've ground away. Now it's time for the test. Are the tea lights going to fit in the lamps? Yes, they fit perfectly. Even under the very bright lighting in the workshop that I need to make the videos, you can clearly see the flickering lights inside the lamps. Fitting these rechargeable LED lights is very simple. I simply switch them on, rotate the tops of the lamps to remove them, and drop in a tea light. and once the tops are replaced, this is what they look like. I can't say they're over bright, but I'm not actually going to use them as functioning headlamps. It's just a great effect. If I do any night running, it will be useful. This clip shows a side view of all of the lamps with the tea lights inside. The tea light in the lamp at the right hand side is not positioned properly, but that's nothing. When I turn out the lights, here is the effect. To me it looks okay, far better than having no light at all in there. And the good thing about these lights is they're rechargeable, using the charge lead that came with them. And the cost was negligible. They came in a pack of 12, so I've actually got 9 not doing anything. Maybe I should use them for romantic evenings in the bath. But unfortunately, as I've got older, I don't seem to be having too many of those experiences anymore. But never mind, I've got a 4.5-inch scale traction engine. What else does a man need? And that's it for this episode. Stay safe, stay well. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainstream Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.